friends, hope you're whelmed. Remember the video I made back in 2024 about cozy games to play if you're a chronic overthinker? Well, I figured it was time for a refresher with some new, or at least new to me, games. The summer heat has started to feel less like a seasonal benchmark and more like targeted harassment, which is why I haven't been posting much, even though I've been trying a lot of games in the background. Still, this is going to be a longer than average list, so I put timestamps in the description to make it easier to skip around and find games you like. If you want something shorter, I'll also link my first overthinking video up above and down below. I still recommend almost all of them except Sunhaven for obvious reasons. Nowadays, there are so many other options for cozy gamers to choose from anyway. There's even a new fantasy farming sim on the block. I have to say that the cozy genre is a lot more expansive than it was even 2 years ago. You just have to know where to look because not all games are created equal. Anyway, the games aren't in any particular order this time, but I tried to include a variety for both Steam and Switch, so I hope this helps you when you're starting to overthink and you need a guaranteed distraction. First on the list is DoronkoWanko. You know how there's a specific subset of cozy games all about cleaning, organizing, and decorating a space to make it uniquely yours? Games where that neat and tidy, everything has its place aesthetic reigns supreme? Well, in this free game, you'll find joy in making a mess. You're an adorably mischievous Pomeranian whose family has recently moved into a pristine McMansion on a hill. While Dad takes the kids out and Mom takes a much-deserved nap, you can unleash your inner troublemaker. Shake, wiggle, jump, and roll to cover the entire house with mud, paint, and whatever else you can get your paws on to ruin your family's day. And if defiling all that square footage seems impossible with just your own 4 paws, don't worry. The further you progress in the game, the more help you unlock via cool accessories and also a whole fleet of Roombas to mess up the floor. And don't feel bad about ruining your family's new digs. Think of it as helping them build character and form core memories. Sure, they won't think the tidal wave of mess is funny in the immediate aftermath, but give it a few years and they'll laugh every time someone brings it up. While playing, it reminded me of my old family dog, which really made me smile. I'm pretty sure his default setting was Genius Chaos Gremlin, and his exploits are still legendary to this day. Honestly, this game is just a good time. I did mention it's free, right? You can purchase DLC in the form of different small dog breeds, but it doesn't change the core gameplay. It's also available on Steam and Switch. Just make sure to adjust your language settings if you're an English-speaking player and you're good to go. The next game I want to talk about surprised me. I don't usually talk about simulation games on this channel, but I couldn't resist trying this one because of a review I saw on Steam, saying it was a great choice for gamers with cerebral palsy. Combine that with the fact that I am what you could call an ice cream enthusiast, and I had to give Ice Cream Simulator a shot. The game isn't perfect, but it acknowledges those flaws outright, explicitly suggesting you install the game on an SSD to prevent problems with the mouse. But it does feature controller support, and after 7.6 hours of running my dream ice cream parlor, I have no complaints. Most of that time was spent with a mouse and keyboard, and while movement could sometimes be clunky because I didn't know about the SSD thing beforehand, it was still fun. I think Ice Cream Simulator is a great choice if you're overwhelmed, because its predictable, routine-oriented gameplay and rewards-based progression system is simple to learn and easy to keep up with. As is typical for most job simulators, you'll be stocking ingredients, making ice cream, adjusting menu prices, hiring staff, and decorating your shop to attract more customers. I love choosing different ice cream flavors for the day, and I'm actually looking forward to more updates. According to the roadmap the devs posted on Steam, they're hoping to implement more sauces and even milkshakes into the game. If you're looking for something that doesn't hinge on a complex narrative, or any narrative at all, with catchy music, try Ice Cream Simulator. It's the exact opposite of the next game I want to tell you about, but as they say, variety is the spice of life. Next up, we have what might be my favorite game of the year so far. Or I might just be saying that because it's thoroughly distracted me from my one-sided war against the sun, but either way, it's on the list. This Nintendo Switch Otome game will definitely appeal to hopeless romantics who like their love stories with a healthy side of the found family trope. In Temirana, your life and luck is all determined by your birthday, and you'll be playing as the cursed princess Cecilia. Reviled by her family for being born with a mysterious mark on her forehead and powers that forewarn of impending doom, Cecilia is cast off from the royal family and isolated from the rest of the kingdom. But as her coming-of-age ceremony approaches, the princess's strange powers activate to assemble her own order of knights. 5 young men from different classes and backgrounds, all of whom have their work cut out for them if they want to become knights and defend against the upcoming calamity, a supernatural disaster that happens every 500 years or so. Think 2020, but way, way worse, like feral livestock, violent neighbors, and natural disasters under a red sky type of worse. With everything going on in the background, Temirana manages to balance whimsical charm with solid world building and cute romance. This is perfect for fans of classic Disney princess movies, romantasy, or both. All of the love interests are well written and distinct, even in the common route. I accidentally locked into Josephi's route first because I agreed with his stubborn exactly once, and anyway, over 5 hours of playtime later, I've finished all the routes, or at least all their true endings, and now I don't know what to do with myself, because Temirana really was this all-encompassing adventure packed to the eyelids with everything I love. I'll probably be doing something random 40 years from now and remember the music or the nightly vows. That's how much I adore this one. The only fault I have with it is I didn't enjoy the secret route nearly as much as everyone else did, but that's just a matter of personal taste. It was really fun to watch the characters' relationships blossom over time and see how this merry band of outcasts carved out a place for themselves both as individuals and together. It was rewarding to unravel everyone's secrets and learn who they are over time. It feels like a story you earn instead of one just told to you. It also made me cackle more than a few times. I liked the storybook style art and colors, found the music fittingly regal, and I have no doubt I'll be replaying this one in the future. If you want a game you can really sink time into, Temirana's the one for you. Speaking of games you can spend a lot of time with, Moonlight Peaks has taken the farming sim world by storm, and I have a lot to say about it. I played the first version of the demo just before I was gifted my first gaming laptop, and that short taste of the supernatural life was enough to make me keep tabs on the game for years. The updated demo, however, let's just say it's not a good representation of the full game. I understand if you're in the same boat, but don't write it off just yet. I'm really happy I gave it a chance. If you love farming sims, Moonlight Peaks will be right up your street anyway, but if you're like me and you're overall neutral on the genre, here's why this cozy supernatural life sim might tickle your fancy. After a heated argument with your father Dracula, you pack your things and settle down in Moonlight Peaks, where your family name is already working against you. Nobody wants to help Dracula's heir apparent, so you'll be earning the townspeople's trust and your stripes as a farmer at the same time. You'll have all the familiar farming sim mechanics you're used to, so they're not reinventing the wheel here, and it's easy for newcomers to grasp. The map is surprisingly huge. I would have loved it if they included some sort of magical marker, so you could be guided to the place or person you're looking for, like the Sparkle Trail in Dreamlight Valley. And while I wanted to buy this on Switch, I specifically chose Steam because of the long loading screen issue. So far though, I haven't run into any bugs or glitches personally, and I'm really loving the gently spooky vibes. I'm also surprised by how much I like all the townsfolk. Again, the updated demo did a poor job showcasing these characters, but the full game has revealed them to be complex and distinct. I enjoy getting to know them, and I like that you can't just blaze through building your relationships. It feels like the longer you're in town and the more effort you put into making friends, the more that effort is reciprocated, and the more they open up to you. And the overarching storyline has just enough drama and angst to keep a sense of intrigue. One drawback I'm going to mention though is the price tag. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad I invested in it, but I had sticker shock when I saw that the intended retail price, without the release discount, was $49.99 in Canadian currency. I understand Xseed is the publisher, but still, it's one of those games where I really took a chance on developers I'd had no previous experience with. And if you're not in a position to drop that kind of money, I'd honestly wait for a sale. With all that said, Moonlight Peaks is definitely a slow burn, with TLC showing in every cobwebbed corner. From what I can see, the dev team has been hard at work squashing bugs and applying patches, so that's encouraging. Honestly, I can see why this is so many people's latest go-to cozy game. Next, if you want a game that doesn't encourage you to get out there and fix an entire town's problems, may I suggest Critter Cafe. I know it's an older game and one people have mixed feelings about. I was one of them. I got the game on sale, and the first time I booted it up, I was underwhelmed. But I gave it a second chance when I was in the mood for a creature collector, and now I'm totally hooked on it. It has absolutely no relationship system, which, I'm not gonna lie, is kinda nice when you're not in the mood to run around gifting people only to be rejected because they didn't like your rice seeds or whatever. In Critter Cafe, your character is stuck in a rut. Desperate for a change of pace, you move to Goldleaf Isle to help your friend spruce up her cafe. But when you arrive, you also start receiving magical potions in the mail from an anonymous friend. You use the potions to open rifts in nearby Honeycrisp Grove, beyond which adorable creatures need saving. In order to rescue them, you'll need to solve environmental puzzles, and some of them are actually kind of tricky, but don't worry, if you really are stuck, you can Google what you need to help you progress. Once your newest little friend is safe and sound, you'll care for them at the critter habitat before introducing them to the cafe, where they'll stun customers with their cuteness, increasing their bond with you, as well as the cafe's reputation. As you level up through working at the cafe or hosting special events, you'll unlock new decor items and even cosmetic changes for your critters, allowing you to further personalize the world around you. Running the cafe is tertiary to creature collecting and decorating, and it feels a bit like a longer than average minigame. You also don't have to keep track of money, so you can redecorate as often as you want with no penalties. I really love this one because it has so much to offer, and I feel like it balances its features really well, so there isn't any pressure between working at the cafe and exploring all the rifts. Plus, I liked finding the blueprints that unlock cosmetic and furniture options. It gave me a reason to explore Honeycrisp Grove instead of just visiting an area once to open a rift and then never touching it again. If you're not sure about Critter Cafe, try the demo and go from there. Another adorable puzzler with a demo is Pack My Lunchbox. Released earlier this year, this cozy, tiny game for foodies is all about packing lunches for strangers you'll never meet. In each little level, you'll receive a lunch order, and it's up to you to cater to your client's specific dietary requests, though how you pack the perfect lunch is entirely up to you. I love Pack My Lunchbox because it's flexible. There are multiple right answers per level, which makes it the perfect game to play while you're listening to a podcast or an audiobook. If you get stuck, remember you can check the in-game illustrated guide to tell you what all the foods are. And if you want an even more laid-back way to play, Relax Mode has you covered. You'll still be packing lunches, but the requests are less challenging than regular gameplay. It's honestly weird how engrossing Pack My Lunchbox is, and now that I've finished, I can't wait to try the DLCs. If you were hoping for a food-oriented game that's a little more cooking chaos than that, don't worry, I've got you covered. KuloNiku Bull Up is a fast-paced, frenetic cooking game with a sweet story and an emphasis on the way food brings people together, creating lasting bonds. I bought this on release day and absolutely loved watching Galabun stream it. If you haven't checked her out yet, you definitely should. Not only is Bun responsible for all this channel's art, she's also a hilarious streamer and a fantastic friend. In KuloNiku, you've inherited your grandmother's meatball restaurant and decided to start a new life, closing the door on your secretive past. But the restaurant's glory days are behind it, so you'll have to restore your reputation by successfully fulfilling customer orders and participating in meat brawls to increase your status. Meat brawls see you directly competing against another chef in front of an audience, wherein you'll make a meatball dish to satisfy the judge, tweaking it each time based on special audience requests. If you win, you'll unlock the next part of KuloNiku's story, but if you lose, no big deal, you'll just keep redoing the brawl until your skills are up to par. I'm only showing you early game footage here because after a certain white-haired character is introduced, the storyline really picks up. But just know you'll unlock new ingredients, characters, and cooking stations as you play. Between slicing and dicing your way to victory, you'll also be running and upgrading the restaurant, learning new recipes, tracking goals, and stumbling into friendships with a cast of delightfully weird characters. I love every single one of them, but my favorite has to be Stella, your restaurant rival. She's so bombastic and larger than life, it's hard not to love her and the main character energy she brings to every scene. It's the characters that make KuloNiku such a replayable game. Even your regular customers, while they're not part of the grander storyline, are silly and memorable. You can face them in casual meat brawls that don't affect the storyline, and later in the game, the cat distribution system smiles upon you. If you don't like feeling rushed, you can even turn on cozy mode, which disables the timers and customer patience bar. KuloNiku is definitely a game that requires all of your attention, but it's also a game that wholeheartedly deserves it. Okay, so we're at the halfway mark, and before we dive into the rest of these games, obligatory, if you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and dropping your favorite cozy game in the comments down below. What games have you really loved this year? I want to hear about them because my wish list isn't long enough. But without further ado, here's the back half of this list. Since KuloNiku is the kind of game where you have to lock in to win, the next two are the exact opposite. Back at the beginning of the year, I reviewed My Tiny Landscape, an indie landscape builder with gorgeous 2.5D art and accessibility settings that actually make the game easier. If you want to know more of my thoughts on this game, I'll pop the link up here and also down below in the description. But the long and short of it is, I love this game. It was made with such care and attention to detail, and it's the specific kind of cozy that's suited for players with hectic schedules and limited gaming time, as you can multitask with a podcast or audiobook in the background while you play. Your job is to cleanse barren archipelagos and create vibrant environments with various environmental features based on real life. You'll need to hit a certain point threshold with each randomized grouping of features you draw, with the ultimate goal being to cover your entire landscape when you're done. There's no competition, no combat, and no pressure. Even having to start brand new landscapes if you don't meet that point threshold isn't annoying, because My Tiny Landscape allows you to keep trying until you succeed. This is definitely one of my favorite games this year, and I'm actually surprised by how frequently I keep going back to it. In general, building and landscaping isn't my jam, but there's something really special about My Tiny Landscape, and I'm happy I gave it a chance. Next, if you're looking for a game like My Tiny Landscape without a point threshold, try Tiny Terra Spaces. A brightly colored island builder inspired by medieval Scotland, Tiny Terra Spaces sees you collecting random gold coins to build a thriving community. There are 4 different ways to start off a save file, but I would say overall, 2 ways to play. You can build up your own community tile by tile in fresh start mode. I like this one the most because I enjoy starting from scratch, but you can also start on 2 large pre-built islands. I'm not sure what the difference is between them, or you can try Isle Hopper mode, which has small goals for players to meet. Recently, thanks to player feedback, the dev added a tutorial, partial controller support, and achievements. The next game is one I wish more people talked about because it really has a relaxing, almost hypnotic quality. An easygoing match 3 puzzle game with a delicious twist, PancitoMerge sees you stacking treats for points and serving customers every so often. If your bag is too full, you lose. I shoved this to my mom, who only plays games on her phone, and she absolutely crushed it and had fun beating my high score. That makes it S tier in my book. So far, I've unlocked all 3 bakeries, but I haven't managed to discover every single baked good per level. The music is playful, and the art would look at home in a children's book, and if that sounds good to you, PancitoMerge is available on both Steam and Switch, plus it has a demo. Coming in at number 11 is Cozy Caravan. If you're looking for pure escapism with a beautiful art style, relaxed fetch quests, a gameplay loop revolving around acts of kindness, and 2 adorable for words customization options, Cozy Caravan is for you. In fact, if you want a game where it's impossible to feel even the slightest hint of stress, this is the one. In Cozy Caravan, you'll design your animal character and begin a new adventure. Volunteered by your favorite Aunt Mads as a rookie guild representative, it's your job to lend a helping hand wherever you can, bringing joy to your neighbors as you travel along a largely unmarked until you get their map. You're joined by your best friend Bubba and your giant bumblebee Rigby. Bubba doesn't say much, but he's there for moral support and hilarious fireside exchanges about your day, as well as fond memories from your shared past. He's honestly my favorite character, because even though he can only say his own name, he's quite expressive, and I wish we could hang out with him by the fire when we set up camp. If there's a way to do that, please let me know. By the way, as you can see, I'm playing as a reindeer, but it was almost impossible to choose which species to be. Cozy Caravan offers so many options, as well as a selection of coat colors for each one, plus a robust catalog of clothing. I didn't expect this game to have the best customization I've seen in a while, but to be totally honest, after seeing other reviews, I wasn't sure what to expect going into this at all. I've seen people say it's more suited for younger players, that it's boring, and that it's really not worth the hype. The only thing I agree with is that it's definitely a game I think little gamers will love. The gameplay loop and reward system are both easy to learn and don't require precision or speed. It's also easy to earn guild tokens with random acts of kindness bestowed upon your neighbors. It's also not rushed, so you can take your time exploring and get lost along the way, making it perfect for quieting your mind. If you want to drive without doing quests, the open road is ready for you to relax, but if you've got a more goal-oriented gameplay style, Bubba has helpfully scribbled out your tasks on the back of a postcard for you. For me, it absolutely was the right purchase. I personally love the cooking mechanics and setting up for market days, even though admittedly I'm not very good at it yet. During my first official one, I only had one bowl of salad to sell. But it's okay. With time, I know I'll get the hang of things, and Cozy Caravan's world is so inviting, I can't wait to jump back in, take some cute-as-a-button photos, and of course, wave at all the neighbors. Unfortunately, Cozy Caravan doesn't have a demo, but it is available on Steam and Switch, and the devs are still actively updating the game, making sure it's the best it can be. In fact, while writing the script for this video, an update dropped with news of another one on the horizon, so we definitely have lots to look forward to. If you're pressed for time, games like Cozy Caravan are good to play in short bursts, but if you want something you can start and finish in one sitting, I highly recommend Duppy Detective Tashia. A point-and-click whodunit based in Jamaican mythology, Duppy Detective is a microgame that manages to be both rich in lore and investigative gameplay, despite offering less than 4 hours of playtime. You'll play as Tashia, a young girl who's just had her phone stolen. While following the thief, she ends up at the Halfway Market, a place for Duppy and Duppy-adjacent beings, as well as the Archangel Michael. He's not interested in hearing about how she, a perfectly healthy human being, ended up in the corner of the afterlife dedicated to mythological beings. And it's hard to blame him, since Mikey is now in charge of solving the murder of Anansi, a spider Duppy known for his cleverness and wit. Desperate to reclaim her life, Tashia strikes a deal with Mikey. She'll solve the case if he can return her Earthside. What follows is pure cozy chaos sprinkled with shenanigans. You'll be inspecting the evidence with your 5 senses and using your noodle to decide who's guilty and who's innocent. When you're ready, you'll even get to vote out the culprit at the nightly market meetings, which was probably my favorite part of the game. If you're interested in a more detailed perspective, I did a combination review and interview, in which I was lucky enough to talk to Glenn Henry, the project lead developer, and the owner of Sprite Ranch Studio. I feel like the answers gave some really cool insight into Duppy Detective's creative process, which just makes me appreciate the game even more. I'll link it up above and down below if you want to check it out. The character art is stunning, the music sets the game's entire mood with confidence and finesse, and the gameplay itself is unique. This year I've been trending more towards shorter games, so a supernatural micro-story was perfect for me. And if you're interested in Jamaican folklore, Duppy Detective will be perfect for you too. So far, all these games have seen you as the story's hero. But what if you were a morally flexible supervillain for hire? Penny Larceny, gig economy supervillain, is from the same minds that brought you Arcade Spirits, which I finally managed to get working on Steam again. I can't wait to replay it, but I digress. In Penny Larceny, you're a disenfranchised freelancer of the criminal variety, with a cybernetically enhanced cat, no fixed address, and a voice in your head, aka the player, that helps you make snap decisions. Your first task is to steal an invite to Crimer, an exclusive networking app for supervillains and their masked henchpeople. In your world, it's practically a rite of passage. But where Penny's story goes from there is entirely in your hands. Will you team up with the brilliant, passionate doctor who was stripped of his medical license for trying to promote free healthcare? Or will you choose to live in the lap of luxury alongside a burdened, charismatic cult leader whose glamorous facade masks the desire to dismantle the systems keeping her bound? If you think humanity is overrated, you can also work with a literal machine whose ridiculous rage made me giggle, because it reminded me of Bowler Hat Guy from Meet the Robinsons. Penny Larceny is a choose-your-own adventure with classic comic book stylings, and plenty of room to customize your playstyle. While the character creation isn't as advanced as Arcade Spirits from that screen, you can also toggle things like swearing and romance, depending on how you want to experience the adventure. I haven't finished this one yet, but I'm having a great time, and if you love visual novels but haven't given this one a chance yet, there's a demo on Steam to really make sure it's for you. Number 14 is a game I probably wouldn't have tried at this time last year. I enjoyed Ice Cream Simulator enough to try branching out with other simulators, and Plant Nursery Simulator ticks all my boxes. But the thing that truly makes this stand out for me is the fact that, unlike most simulators I've seen, Plant Nursery Simulator embraces a brightly colored cartoony vibe that flies in the face of most of its all beige all the time cohort. Running the nursery means you have the usual tasks of handling the register, stocking merch, in this case vibrant plants and pots to go along with them, and you'll also be expanding not just your nursery but the greenhouse beyond it, where you'll be tending to your own crops. I'm not too far into this one just yet, but so far I'm having a great time with it. If you've played other simulator games, you know what's in store, but I think that's where the allure of the genre comes in. There are very few surprises by way of gameplay mechanics or difficulty. You complete simple tasks over and over to unlock bigger and better rewards, and that's why I think so many cozy game enthusiasts are drawn to these. The predictability and consistency are always there, whether you're helping animals find homes, scooping ice cream, or running a nursery. The coat of paint may be different, but the wall underneath is pretty much the same. I personally find this one a bit grindier than similar titles, but I know exactly what I'm getting, which is invaluable. At this point, I'm just starting to think I'm a sucker for a game with plants, but Puni the Florist is genuinely one of the most addictive games I've tried this year. Not only does it look like the art was peeled directly from Oni Press's heyday, the storyline itself offers a charming break from real life. In Puni the Florist, you're a recent graduate looking for a job. By chance, or magic, who really knows at this point, you stumble upon a whimsical flower shop, where a very strange-looking fairy is eager to welcome you as a florist for hire. One lightning strike and a short tutorial later, you'll find yourself making flower arrangements to suit your eccentric clientele, and after work, you'll spend the money you earn on new flower varieties, decor, and mystery potted plants that might actually just be rubber chickens. It's magic, not science, remember? With humor and heart, Puni the Florist encourages players to sit back, relax, and learn something new with a brief introduction to the language of flowers. This is entirely up my street because as a kid, I used to visit this website that was all about the language of flowers and what it meant to give or receive certain ones. So far, I've played through to fall in-game, and I know there's a sandbox mode, but I want to finish the storyline before I jump into that. Aside from a minor visual glitch where the travel icon didn't show up until I clicked that area of the screen while playing, the only thing that would make this game even better is a Switch port. I saved this game for last because it's not your typical cozy game, and it's not exactly a game that induces uncomplicated warm and fuzzies. In fact, it's pretty emotional. It's not perfect, and at times it made me uncomfortable, but that's why I kept playing. The Berlin Apartment offers a starkly human narrative adventure with historical roots. Though it's fiction, it leans into actual events. And honestly, check content warnings just in case. Beginning in 2020, the Berlin Apartment introduces precocious young Delara, who's tagging along to her father's job site due to school closures. Her dad is working hard to renovate a massive, dilapidated apartment, while Delara is bored out of her mind. With no choice but to explore, Delara soon discovers windows to the past by finding precious things the former tenants left behind. Intrigued by the mementos, Delara wonders where they came from and enlists her father's help to give a voice to those stories, pulling the past into the present. You'll visit multiple points in the apartment's history, seeing through a new tenant's eyes each time. The glue of this anthology is the apartment itself, rather than any of the lives lived inside of it. Where it shines is its careful, contemplative handling of true events, making an effort to focus on the mundanity of human history rather than tragedy, while still respecting the history itself. The quiet, familiar expression of everyday tasks and emotions was surprisingly effective. Your gameplay is focused primarily on helping the tenants on one important day, whether that means hurriedly packing a suitcase to flee the country, or hopefully crafting paper airplanes to connect with someone new. The Berlin Apartment won't be for everyone, and to be honest, it's not one I'd replay, but I think it has a lot of heart, and if you're able to handle the topics and themes, it's worth trying once. Finally, friends, we've reached the end of this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time.